You're not too old, you're not too broken. You've just been hustling in a body that was never designed to be pushed that way. I know you're feeling it. You're reading the Proverbs 31 and you're wondering, how on earth is this girl getting up before her kids wake every single day, getting it done, checking off her checklist, bop, bop, kick it. How the heck is she doing it? I wanna be just like her. You're tracking your macros, you're syncing your cycle, you're eating the right foods, you're even sleeping for once. As a mom of 5, I know how that goes. See, you're doing all the right things, but somewhere along the line, you've stopped listening to that still small voice. Here's where we get it twisted. We rely so much on the tools, on the steps that we take, on the practical, that we're completely forgetting there's a whole spiritual side to this physical body that we're in too. Now, after working with hundreds of women, I've realized that we're all struggling with some of the very same physical and spiritual things. We're gonna unpack those today and talk about things like insulin resistance, how we're aging, how we're eating, how we're training, and how we can sync our bodies to be in alignment with the phase of life that we're in when we're getting closer to our 40s. Before I get into it, I wanna remind you that tools are not our masters. God is truly the only one who can put that everlasting change within us, and it will bleed out of you from there. So make sure that the spiritual checklist is something that you get to as well. I'll be talking about that towards the end of this video. A lot of women that I work with are struggling with insulin resistance. The fact is that they can't process sugars the same way that they used to. This does not mean that you need to go eliminating carbs and jumping on the next keto bandwagon. What this does mean is we need to be smart and strategic when it comes to planning our meals. The first step is to find that protein goal. I know I say it all the time, but I'm gonna say it again. Hit that 1 gram per pound of body weight for your protein goal. The next thing that's really important in terms of tackling our hormone health and insulin resistance is fiber. We sometimes forget how important it is to slow down the digestion of our sugars. So if you are having, a donut alone versus say a donut with a side of carrots, you're instantly adding fiber to that, helping your body process the sugars in a better way. I know that carrots and donuts don't really go together, but you get what I mean. If you're gonna have rice, have it brown, and not because it's better for you. Honestly, the calories are close to the same as white rice, but just for the fact that it's going to help you feel full longer, but also help you ease that blood sugar roller coaster ride that we no longer want to be riding as we get older. You might have been able to get away with that when you were in your 20s, but as you get older, our body does tend to hold on to body fat sooner, and that's just because, man, it just sucks to get older. But also it's beautiful, right? It's beautiful, right? I can't tell you how many times I have women come to me and they are doing HIIT training, high intensity exercise, endless cardio, and they're wondering why they're having all these hormone issues, their skin is bad, they're feeling tired, they're exhausted, they can't stay awake to read their Bible if they wanted to. I often look at their life and I go, well, what do you think's gonna happen? You are working out 6 or 7 days a week. You're running yourself into the ground. You're likely under eating. You have a lot of responsibilities, and it's no wonder you're not feeling very good. As I'm aging, I'm finding it harder to manage my cortisol levels. I seem to be triggered by stress a lot sooner. This has to do with the compacted impact, you know what I mean. This has to do with the amount of time I've spent being a mom, and I love being a mom, but let's not forget that it is stressful to provide for other people, and it does take things out of us. There are other stressors that I bet you don't even think about. Going on a holiday is even a stressor. So it turns out I'm the girl that got stuck on the zip line. I'm really sorry! Because it is something fun, but your body is being taken to something different, doing something different, your routine is different, and as we get older, we tend to love our routines a little bit. Am I right? Drop a comment below if you love your routine and love being more of a homebody as you get older. I know personally, I don't really feel like flying as often, going in as many places. I just love a slow day at home. So what are you to do about your training as you are getting closer to 40? If you want to feel your best and glow up by 40, you are going to want to take your intensities down. Strength train, lift heavy things, take adequate rest, and I mean 1 to 2 to even 3 days off completely per week where you're just stretching or walking, and prioritize cardio, but not high intensities. We want to be taking it down to the lower intensity cardios as we age so that our body can recover faster. We don't want to be stuck in fight or flight because that's going to rise cortisol, leading to that stubborn belly fat that I know we all want to avoid. You're also going to have to stop the under eating. I know you're trying to eat whole foods and healthy foods that are God-given foods, but here's the problem. When we're not intentional and we're not actually tracking what we're eating, our tendency as women is to undereat. The reason for that is because, unfortunately, our society has given us this crazy scarcity mindset around food that we just can't get over. It's like it's built into us. So what I want you to do is, even if it's just temporary, you need to get some idea of what you're eating. For my clients, that does look like tracking macros because I feel like it's the best way to have food freedom, but also be able to be encouraged in being intentional with what we're eating and what we're putting in your body. This is a tool, it's not God, so we won't be doing this forever. This is honestly just to get an idea of what works for your body, how you feel, how much you're eating, and how much you need to adjust in order to truly feel well again. Now let's touch a little bit on the spiritual aspect of glowing up in a godly way. I spent way too many years trying to build goals off of what my body would look like, how it would perform, and how I could earn approval in this world. It wasn't until I recentered and focused on how God wanted me to show up in this world and how I could benefit His kingdom that really is the true glow. Letting God transform your mind will allow Him to transform your actions, which in turn will transform your body. It might not be as fast as what you see on Instagram or social media, but it is the only way that leads to life. Matthew 7 verse 13 says, "Enter in by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many are those who enter it. How narrow is the gate and restricted is the way that leads to life, and few are those who find it." God's words are His instructions to us on how to live. He is the lamp to our feet, and that includes in our health. This renewing is going to need to be continual on a daily basis. What is God saying about my body? What is the world saying about my body? What do I feel in my body today? What if that is coming from God, and what if that is coming from the enemy? Ask these questions on repeat, journal about them, pray about them, and find out who your true identity is by reading the Bible daily. I know a lot of us are afraid to take action right now with our health because we don't want to do it the wrong way. We don't want to be a bad example to our little girls or seem too obsessive to other people. But remember that other people are going to judge you regardless of if you decide to persevere a health journey or not. The way you speak about it, the way you move into it, and the way you model it for others is how they will know that it is from God. When I've struggled with gluttony in the past, it has been a real struggle to feel connected to God. And so I have a huge compassion for you if you are in that season of life where developing that self-control is just still a really sticky situation. If you are continuously feeling like the flesh is winning and you are falling short, I'm going to encourage you to ask yourself just a few questions every time this kind of thing happens to you where you do something with food that you really wish you didn't do. Journal about or ask yourself the question in a very non-judgmental way. Did this action bring me closer to God? Did this help me feel better so that I can walk out my day today in a way that honors Him? Did what I do, did the choice I make me feel further from God? I know personally when I've had like a sugar binge, a whole bunch of candy or something like that, the next day when I've woken up, I've just felt kind of gross. And not because I physically feel like I've gained weight, but the actual weight of that sugar in my body, the feeling of overdoing it, the overeating, the shame that comes along with it, even when we say we don't feel shame, it's that feeling of not having self-control that leads us to feel far from God. Repent, try again. Remember that this process of learning and unlearning your habits with food is going to be lifelong. We are never going to be perfect on this side of heaven, and we can be okay with that because of what God did for us. Knowing when to be more hard on yourself as a parent would to a child versus knowing when to give yourself grace is a practice that takes time. There are certain times where you will have to rest instead of doing that thing, and listening to God's voice is the only way you're going to know if this is truly a time for you to step up and keep going and push through, or to truly rest in Him. If you feel like you've tried everything and you need somebody to hold you accountable and guide you in a way that is going to align you with the goals and intentions that you have both physically and spiritually, that's where you can apply for one-to-one coaching. Just hit the link in the description box below and I'll see if I have space for you in my program. I hope this practical and spiritual guide to helping you glow up to your 40s in a godly way was helpful and inspiring. Please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love to have you over there in my community, and we'll see you guys in the next video.